positivity with no other option. That's the easiest way to say it. If you say to someone, you just think positive or everything's going to be all right, and you've just got it's same as before. If gratitude is your one solution that fixes everything, if positivity is your one solution that fixes everything, then again, you can't, it shouldn't be discarded. It shouldn't be but it might be another one of those 10% tools. Use positivity, but definitely don't ever tell people that they've only got to be positive. Don't do the whole positive vibes only thing. Toxic positivity, as I say, is positivity where there is no other option, where a person doesn't have space for anything that doesn't fit and make them feel comfortable.
Gamers We Care presents our second annual New Year's special, What Are You Grateful For? We will be joined by 11 content creators from around the industry. And what I love about all of our guests, each and every single one of them, and what separates them from the rest, is that they are so community focused. I can't speak enough to our 11 guests coming up here, speak highly enough about them. And it's going to be an exciting show. We're going to do a lot of talking. And our three main topics of conversation for today: a reflection on 2021 and everything we've learned, a look forward into 2022, and to see what these content creators have in store for us. And then finally, who or what are you grateful for? It could be one or the other, but there may be a specific person, group of people, or something that our guests would like to recognize. We want them to share that with you today. With that said, let me introduce our 11 guests quickly. We don't have a lot of time. Mizzi! Hi.
Hello, can you even hear me?
Hello, yes.
Perfect,
Welcome.
Perfect, okay, I was just worried. I had a little audio issue, surprise. New year, it's still the same. Hello, everyone.
It's quite all right. I just started doing the introduction. I told everybody about the three main topics of conversation: 2021, 2022, who or what are you grateful for? And I was just about to get into the guests here, run through them quick. It's 11 content creators from around the industry. So first up, leading off, we have MindsetbyDave in the first segment. He is a mental health coach extraordinaire. The guy is tremendous, absolutely tremendous. He gets his own segment, 45 minutes coming right up here. We'll catch him up first. Followed up, group two, we got Lady Kerberos and ScribbleNinja. It's going to be a blast. I spent an hour on the phone with Scribble last night, and we were only supposed to spend 5-10 minutes together. So we had a blast talking. We're just going to let the conversation flow with those two. Group three, we're joined by the totally awesome Winniedapoohhh. Boy, did she have a wild couple weeks. I've been in and out of her streams all the time. I've seen her tears of joy streaming down her face. It's been really cool. And joining her is RevDMQ. I actually got to talk to Rev for just a little bit, but I'm intrigued to hear all about him. He's a pastor and a streamer. You don't hear those two things combined all too often. Group four brings us DeuceDread and Foybles. As GWC looks to expand its reach this year in 2022, one of the things we're looking forward to in 2022. Foybles should be definitely quite an interesting listen. Stay tuned. Group five, Group five, the lovely NeonPWA.
You need my graphic I prepared for you.
Oh, no.
Yes, you do. Just say it.
Put it up. And then we've got Neon. I am going to fangirl over him. I love Neon. He's a blast. You have to see his clip that he just put up for Battlefield 2042. And then we have ThatWhiteFish, music producer. Pretty cool. He's making music for GWC right now. He's making an intro for us. And then finally, group six. No better way to end a show, in my opinion, than with our veterans. Both your big brother Steve and the Nathan will be joining us for the last segment. Both of whom are extremely intelligent, so they must not have been Marines, right? Is that the going joke? Sorry, Marines. But joking aside, there is no group of people that deserve more of our respect than those who are willing to put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms. So with that being said, Happy New Year. Mizzi, how are you? The floor is yours for a little bit.
Oh no, so early. I was actually chilling. I was about to make myself comfortable actually and just relax, and listen. I thought you were. I thought you just started, actually.
No, nope.
It's
Well,
all
there's
right. It's all right.
Dave.
Thank you. Hey, Dave. Dave is already
Hello.
joining us. That's so
Hey,
nice. How
Dave.
are you, Dave?
Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, sure.
Dave?
Cool.
Yes, of course, please. Look, I make it quick. I make it much quicker. Guys, I'm not very good at speeches. So, anyways, today I think I really love this show because we are looking back to the great things we did together with you guys tonight. We will do a little bit a look back of everything we did as Gamers Who Care, and I mean, as Gamers Who Care, really, so many of you. I was thinking about actually putting up a graphic or somewhere where I put all the names and of you guys who helped building up what we build up here together, created the charity events, the gaming events, everyone who was involved. And the list was so long, I couldn't put it on one screen. So thank you guys, really, from the bottom of my heart. The charity events, the gaming events, the talks, the podcasts, everything we did together. Damn, it makes me cry again. So this is what I'm the most grateful for, really. Here, this reminds me of the great things we did together, guys. So thank you. And back to being grateful, my Mindset Dave, why we wanted you here. And this was really important for me to start the stream with you, to get a little bit of insight on the whole topic, and maybe not only the good stuff about being grateful, maybe also the bad stuff. I don't know. We will go deep into that topic now. Maybe maybe you want to start. I think you had a question prepared for the beginning you wanted to start with that was important to you. Maybe we go with that.
Well, I've got
We're going
actually.
there.
I got a few.
Yeah, we have a few questions lined up for you, Dave. My question, really, and I guess to lead it off, is what made you decide to stream mental health out of all things, or really, what made you decide to make Twitch the platform you stream mental health on?
I mean, basically what made most streamers that started in 2020 start, which was COVID. I've been making mental health content for about 5 years now, maybe a little bit longer. I was making mental health content in conjunction with personal training content for a while. And my two jobs were I was working as a personal trainer and I was working as a mindset coach. And basically from being a mindset coach, which mostly worked one-to-one with people, I then moved more into mental health education, which for my job, I work in schools, I work in businesses, I go into schools and teach kids about mental health awareness. I go into business and talk about mental health in the workplace and things like that. And my entire plan for 2020, and I spent all of the latter part of 2019 preparing for this plan, was to do more of those talks. That was all I wanted to do. And I had, at the start of 2020, I was like, my goal was to do 2 a month to start off with. And at the beginning of 2020, I had 14 in the calendar. So I was obviously doing something right, which is, I hate networking. Like, I can't stand it. And I hate promoting myself. It makes me feel all squirmy and stuff. But I really worked hard to do that. And then, early March 2020, literally my email starts going like this: cancelled event, cancelled event, cancelled event, cancelled event. And I'd been talking about doing this on Twitch for a long time. One of my friends had introduced me to Twitch a couple of years earlier. I'd been watching things like the Games Done Quick shows and things like that. Really loved watching those. And then basically I'd just been sitting on the idea. I'd already bought the webcam, thankfully, because you couldn't get one of those things for love nor money once the pandemic started. And then I was like, right, well, I've been waiting for the perfect time to do this, and that's never really presented itself. So rather than essentially sit and cry that everything I'd worked hard had just fallen apart and I'd had 14 cancellations in the space of 2 days, I thought, right, well, let's do something else. And I started originally gaming on Twitch with the idea saying that I'm going to game and then we'll talk mental health if it comes up. And within 6 months, there were no more games because all we did was talk mental health. And that was actually the point at which I'm like, right, we're doing something right here.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty wonderful. I've been in your streams now a bunch since I first got to meet you a month or two ago. And I can't tell you the amount of knowledge, the amount of support that I've gotten from you and your community. It's just tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And I can't I can't speak to it enough. I mean, if anybody has any mental health issues, I mean, I point you to Dave. I point you to no better person than Dave here. I can't say it enough. I really
Thank
can't.
you very much. And honestly, it means so much if you say that. And it's it's a little bit uncomfortable to get complimented like that, but at the same time, thank you.
I know your viewership and your community is extremely important to you, and the love and appreciation they show to you, speaks volumes. Mizzy, did you have a question for Dave next, or did you want me to lead off again with another?
If you, I have a question actually because of what we were talking right now. If you look at the whole thing from right now, where you are sitting now, can you rephrase by looking back? How did you become there? Like in one sentence, in 1 or 2, 3 sentences, like the road. I mean, it's not like you start streaming. Okay, I'm a mental health coach. Come here. I build a community. It's a long road, right?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I never do anything in one sentence. I understand there's lots of other guests to get in tonight, but So how I got there, living through, like, step one, living through my own mental health as a child, diagnosed bipolar at 14, literally learning to live through that. How I ended up becoming a mindset coach through all of that was through mindset and mental health are two separate things, but they interplay with each other. And mindset isn't so much curing or fixing mental health. I don't promise anything like that. It's living better with it. So my relationship with my mental health is probably not much better than it was 20 years ago, but my relationship with that mental health is significantly better, and my thought processes are significantly better. And then in terms of growing the community here, literally the word community has been on my heart for as long as I can remember. And I was in a band when I was 20, and I used to focus on I'm turning 40 in about 7 weeks today, actually. But so 20 years ago, I was in this band telling everyone in this band that we need to look at the message boards and we need to start using social media, which wasn't even a thing there. We had a message board, and they were like, "Why'd you spend so much time in the message board talking to the fans and stuff?" And I was like, because they're not fans, they're our community. And I've always wanted to build community. And actually, one of the things that I took a great amount of pride in there when TrustedBeard was saying it is he wasn't just complimenting me, he was complimenting my community. And yes, they are an absolutely amazing, lovely bunch. And I feel honored to be at the heart of them. And I honestly feel like, it's as much when you come into, we call it diversity, short for diversity or neurodiversity, because most of us have got a little bit different something going up here. And yeah, I couldn't be more proud of being part of that family, really.
What's the pressure? After you.
Sorry.
Well, I'm going then. Me, because this ties in.
All right, go.
Do you feel pressure from the community,
from the community,
to live up to the community and to take, as a clan leader myself, I always felt the pressure to live up to be the best version of myself. And I know you have your own mental health issues to go to. I just can only imagine how tough it can be sometimes because so many people rely on you.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's why I started laughing when you said, "Do you feel pressure?" Yes, all the time. Yeah, I feel the pressure if I want to do a good job for them, and also I don't. It's very strange now that I'm in front of a live audience and in front of people, because I'm in front of people that can rewatch things or have been around the community for a while, because I feel a strange pressure to try and be unique and to try and be original and not be repetitive too much. But unfortunately, that's not possible. So you've been in when I've jumped out the chair and this guy's jumped in, aka the Mindalorian. Whenever someone redeems a Mindalorian, the Mindalorian comes on with a voice changer. It's not actually me. We're two separate people. That's the lie that's the truth we're telling everybody. But when someone redeems one of them, I feel the pressure to kind of to deliver on that. To if someone's going to spend channel points redeeming one of those, I don't just want a generic life tip that's just been pulled from a little cookie jar over here. I want to actually give something that's personal to that person. And that's getting harder now that the community is growing, because it gets a lot harder to know the personal details about the person that you're speaking to. And then sometimes this is a very weird pressure, but the same people will redeem them quite frequently. And then I feel a pressure to say something different and unique to that person. But the one thing that helps me with my pressure on all of this is I'm not afraid to use the phrase, I don't know. So if someone asks me a question and I don't know, or if someone, if I get 3 hours into a 4-hour stream and my energy suddenly disappears and my brain fog comes in, I think you've been there when it's happened. My community are very, very supportive about the fact that I say, you know what, actually, I've got nothing left in the tank today. Like they're very supportive of the fact that I get, you know, I am the type of person that will give my last spoon to anybody. And the long-standing members of the community are very supportive of that. It's a little bit harder with new people coming in, because if I'm like, oh, I've not got the time for this today, and they've just come in today, that's all they know of me. So it's there's definitely pressure there, but the biggest pressure for me is never wanting to harm anybody, like, because obviously we are talking about mental health and we don't hold back, and we're safe, but I call it safe but challenging. It's like I don't want it to be so safe that all we do is comfort everybody that comes in. I want it to be like, right, we're going to keep you safe, but at the same time we want you to take a step forward today.
Yeah,
and finding the balance with that as well is quite challenging.
Yeah, that's what yes, and you said it perfectly. I can't really reiterate it any better than you said, but it's all about growth. It's not just here to coddle. We're all here kind of growing together as a family and all learning from one another as a community. And yeah, it's really, really, really cool.
Absolutely. What did you do so much during your time, or how did you get in touch with the whole topic we are talking tonight about, gratitude, or maybe even the practice of gratitude? Because I don't want to give you too much information. I want to see, like, where's this going first,
Yeah. So gratitude, how I suppose really got into a lot of this stuff was, do I need to do content warnings or not?
No.
What?
Okay,
No.
so in 2009, I got to the point with my mental health where I tried to take my own life, and in 2010, I went off to Thailand attempting to run away from who I was, and the whole expression "wherever you are, there you go" kind of thing. I was in a very toxic place within my own mind. I'd been through a whole host of things. I was assaulted and bullied and abused as a child, and then I'd just been through a terrible relationship in the year before when that all happened. But the most consistent bully in my life has always been me to me. I got bullied by people in school, but then I left school and continued to bully myself. I was in a really bad relationship for a year, but then I left that relationship and continued to be in a bad relationship with myself. And the thing is, I started looking into all the ways. Well, after the attempt on my life, I basically I wanted to be better, because I believed before that the reason that attempt happened is because I believed I had nothing left to give. I believed that I was worthless. I was, all of that stuff. And then afterwards, not like the day after, like 6 months after, I'm like, right, okay, I'm gonna make a go of this life, and I'm gonna do what I can. And I really become quite obsessed with reading all of the self-help books in the world, looking into all the concepts. And actually, gratitude was one of the first ones that I really got into, because really, when I was in that darkest place, I focused on all the things I didn't have. My focus was always towards all the things I didn't have, all the things I'd lost, and my brain genuinely believed that I'd never get most of these things back, or any of these things back, or I'd never be happy ever again. And actually, I remember coming back from that trip to Thailand, and I was there for a month. I did a fight in Muay Thai at the end of it and everything, which was huge for me, like overcoming the bullying that I'd been in the past and actually being brave and stepping into this ring. And I had the biggest come down afterwards. I came home and I had the worst depressive episode of my life when I came down afterwards, because by comparison, I'd left this great, amazing journey behind. And I remember loading my washing machine about 2 days after this episode finished. And I literally remember that moment of saying, this is the adventure. Like, the fact that I've got a washing machine, the fact that I've got clothes that can be washed, the fact that, you know, I've got access to these things, I've got a house, I've got a roof over my head. I was able to go to Thailand and do this adventure. Like I started being extremely grateful towards practically everything, and started being grateful to the friends that I still had, because I'd lost a lot of friends in that previous year as well, and just started actually, you know, you can have, if someone has everything but isn't grateful, it doesn't matter what they've got. And if someone has very little and is grateful for what they've got, then it matters. You know, it's and it's huge. The biggest issue that there is with it is I think people get, once they start practicing it, eventually they get complacent. And I think a lot of people, before they discover gratitude for themselves, it doesn't matter how much we bang on about it, people are very cynical or very skeptical that it's just not going to work, or it's too simple. And it's immensely powerful. It is something that is.
Can you
say,
powerful. If you're talking about people, is there a specific group of people who is more in danger of, you know, so it's like kind of like gratitude is going the wrong way, like it's toxic? Is there a specific group? Is it people with mental health issues already, or?
I think it falls into the same trap as toxic positivity, which is it can change everything for you, being grateful, but it might not. And the thing is, for some people, it's going to be a tool. It's like everything in life's a tool. Like meditation is a tool, or eating well is a tool, exercising is a tool. All these things are tools, and none of them, none of us can prescribe somebody else's 100% solution, right? One person might get everything they want from gratitude by itself. They change nothing else, and they take up gratitude, and that changes everything for them. And then that person becomes a little bit of a zealot. And hey, I became that person for a little while. And that person then becomes like Mr. Preachy of like, oh, I changed my life with gratitude, so you should too. I hate the word should. And then the thing is, it's you can't find that for somebody else. You may find it, and it may be the best thing in the world for you, but someone else might try it, and it might make them feel like 10% better. Now, because you've sold it as it was this life-changing thing, and then this person tries it and only feels 10% better, then they're like, either they feel like they're doing it wrong, which is not a nice feeling for anybody, or they think, well, this is a load of crap. You know, what's the point? It only made me feel 10% better. It's not this big thing that it was sold to for me. And I think when someone comes along and sells it as this is the only way, that's a big turn off for me. Like, no matter what it is, someone could come out tomorrow and say, we've got we found the world's greatest new antidepressant. You take it once and then your depression is gone forever, and this is the only way to do it. I'd probably be like, you lost me at the only way. You know, it's like, because generally speaking, that person, you're setting the expectations all the way up here, and people are going to come in low. And then when people don't get what they were looking for, they turn their back on it quite quick. And gratitude, my practice of gratitude when I do it, it's not about just writing a list. Some people just write a list and they pay lip service and they say, yeah, I'm grateful I've got a roof over my head. I'm grateful I've got a partner or whatever. I'm grateful I've got a community on Twitch, whatever. You know, I'm grateful I've got people that I can speak to. And then they'll say that. When I practice gratitude, I'd rather someone took one of those things rather than writing a list of 10 and felt it, like really felt it. Because gratitude isn't a list, it's a feeling. It's like, okay, right. How I like to do it, I imagine the thing that I'm grateful for being removed from my life. Like, and that can be scary.
Okay, wait. Stop. You said something important there. First off, write down, if we have time at the very end, I want to talk about what's toxic positivity for you, but not now.
Okay.
All right.
Secondly, shit. What did you just say? You said just right now a sentence.
I'd rather
about
feel
what it does.
Really.
It's a feeling. It's an emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get into the details here, because look, for myself, I'm very critical whenever I'm the same as you. Like, if somebody tells me like this is the all-in-one solution, I'm more likely running away.
Yeah.
But whenever I see something and I like to do some research, and I know gratitude, for example, because that emotion, what it does is in the end, it's a chemical process, what happens in your brain, right? So can we talk about this maybe for a second? What happens actually? Because I feel very often people think this is just esoteric, whatever stuff. And it is not. It can have an effect on your body. How?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know I know it gets into our dopamine, it gets into our serotonin. I don't know the full details of that, so it's probably not best for me to speak on that. But it does. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. See what I mean? I've got my get out of jail free card. If I don't know the answer to something, I say I don't know. I know. But what I will say is that the thing about mental health, as opposed, like, we like to make these comparisons about mental health comparisons to physical health and stuff, and because mainly when we want to do that is because people take physical health seriously, but they don't take mental health as seriously. But the thing is, when it comes to mental health, the dopamine receptors, and you should try and get your hands on a guy called Dean Burnett. He wrote something called The Happy Brain, and also Psychological, were the two books that I interviewed him. He's a neuroscientist that literally can tell you.
let's do books.
He
What
can
books do
he
you recommend?
Well, Psychological by Dean Burnett is a very good book.
Okay.
Psycho-Cybernetics by a guy called Maxwell Maltz is amazing, and it's about and that kind of speaks to what we're talking about here. Is it's about our subjective feelings, because our subjective feelings, when it comes to physical health, our subjective feelings are important, but they're not everything. So if a person, like, let's take someone who's got diabetes, right? If a person subjectively feels like their blood sugars are okay, but their blood sugars are all over the place, then that's not good. So let's say someone goes to hypnotherapy and they do hypnotherapy for their diabetes, and they come out of it feeling like, perfectly level and all the rest of it, but inside their blood sugars are literally all over the place. Now that's what they're feeling up here might make them say, oh, well, I don't need my insulin, or I don't need this, or whatever, and that is dangerous. I knew a person that was going to hypnotherapy for her mum, was going to hypnotherapy for her cancer symptoms, and she didn't feel ill anymore, so she stopped going to chemo, and as a result she died from that. So that's not good, right? So, but whereas it comes to mental health, our subjective feelings, how we feel about our depression, well, that is our depression. If someone was to say, okay, you need this amount of dopamine or this amount of serotonin in order to not be depressed, and you had below that, but you felt absolutely great, it's like, then you're not actually depressed. If they're saying anxiety, for anxiety, you need to have your heart rate needs to be below here, or for you not to have anxiety, or you need to have a certain, again, like, physiological response to it. But you absolutely feel fine and you're not having anxious thoughts and all the rest of it, then your anxiety is okay. So this is the whole thing when it comes to mental health, is that what we feel actually is much more important. It's important with physical health. I'm not discounting anyone's pain or anyone's symptoms or anything like that. But when it comes to mental health, what we feel is actually more important than what's going on. So, like, if you say to anybody, okay, well, it increases the dopamine receptors, or it increases the serotonin receptors in your brain, it does this, and they're like, cool, but I still feel depressed. And that's why I mentioned Dean Burnett, because what they found a second area of the brain where serotonin is released, but actually it's the exact same neurotransmitter, but instead of making people feel good like we expect serotonin to, it makes people feel bad. So there's still a lot. And when I interviewed him about this, he was like, yeah, that's what we know of now. So, like, there's still a lot of research to be done there. But our subjective feelings when it comes to gratitude, if a person doesn't feel gratitude, it's irrelevant to them, right? That person writing a list of that person could sit and write a list of 100 things that they're grateful for and feel absolutely nothing. Therefore, gratitude isn't useful to that person. But the problem with that being is, it's easy to mechanically write a list, right? It's not so easy to sit and feel it. And actually, and there was a tweet that I wrote earlier today that I actually asked TrustedBeard to bring up, and this is the perfect time for it. I said something.
You want me to ask it?
I think I remember it.
I've got it right here.
Go on then.
If the TV played nothing but movies you hate, but you had a movie library of all your favorites, what would you watch? Would you watch what has been scheduled for you, or would you choose something better for yourself?
Yep. So that tweet was nothing to do with movies. So I was being kind of cryptic today. The idea being, this thing is your TV. Your brain is your TV, right? And now I have this expression for this, which is negativity comes natural, but positivity takes practice. you are going to have regularly scheduled broadcasts of all the shit that's gone wrong in your life and all the shit that possibly could go wrong in your life. And everyone in chat will probably be able to relate to this. You've probably thought about something bad that happened and had it on repeat up here, living, the expression living rent free in my head. Or we sat there and we've obsessed over things. Now, the problem with this is gratitude doesn't tend to come to us by accident. It doesn't. It's like you don't sit there and unless something reminds you, you don't sit there and kind of go, oh, I'm suddenly very grateful. This is why I say positivity takes practice. You have to go to your movie library. Your movie library is all the things that you enjoy and all the things that you love. So actually, you have to choose to put that on. Now, why a lot of people turn their backs on gratitude is because, oh, well, the negative stuff comes to me naturally, but I have to work for the positive stuff. Therefore, that's not me. And it's like, no. Like that's your default operating system. Your default operating system's got something inbuilt into it called negativity bias. It's supposed to notice things that could hurt you because it's supposed to keep you away from those things. And as a result, we spend all this time noticing things that are negative, and then anything that's positive, we go, oh, that was nice, and we move on, right? And we move on. Job's done. It's like, and that's the whole thing. It's like, right, the thoughts that hurt us or help us are the ones that we hold on to. So when it comes to gratitude, it's not just you write it down on a piece of paper and it takes a split second. It's sit there and actually go, right, I am grateful for this thing. Like if it's a person, what are you grateful for about that person? Think about their smile. Think about that person in detail. Think about amazing moments that you've shared with that person. Relive those amazing moments. Think of what it's like to hug that person or talk to that person. And then, as I said before, I like to take this one step further. And what I do is I imagine for a split second or a minute or whatever, what it would be like if that person wasn't in my life anymore. And then what you do is you bring that person back and then remember them as they are. And the thing is, we do everything by comparison. So actually, if we forget if the reason I do that step is because we tend to take people for granted. And it's like, oh yeah, that person's really nice. And if you sit down and think about it, you could say a million things good about that person. If you sit down and think about it, you could say loads of things that are good to have a car on your driveway, or loads of things that are good to have an audience to talk to, or to have all this technology that is allowed to connect people in 3 different countries at least right now. It's like those things are amazing. And most of the time that thought's in one ear and out the other. It's like, that's a but someone cut you up in traffic. And then you sit there and you tell people about it and you hold on to it. You hold on to the thought that could hurt you. And with gratitude, because that feels like it's happening naturally, whereas gratitude, we have to force it. And yeah, okay, we do have to force it, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. That just means that we're well, let's use Mizzi, because Mizzi speaks at least 2 languages. It's like when you're learning a new language, gratitude is a different language than being angry at things. Being angry at something is a language that you've spoken every day since you were 11 years old, or maybe actually, no, let's face it, you get angry toddlers. So earlier, being critical of things probably is what comes a little bit later. You've spoken that language, but being grateful of things, it's a completely different language. You don't know the words, you don't know the sentences, you don't know the structure. So when you do speak it, it doesn't flow as easily. But if people who do practice gratitude on a regular basis really get into it, it becomes easier. Now, as I said before, that can become a problem because it comes easier because, yeah, I'll spend 5 minutes on it and I've done my gratitude list. So you have to every time say, you know what, it's not.
I mean, aren't there a million ways to practice it? You could even practice it like when you're walking, when you're laying down in bed, in your head. I mean, as you said, as I understand, it's important that you do connect and you're fully there consciously and try to get an emotion to that, what your gratitude is for, right? Like this is the whole construct.
And that's something I've found, I personally try and practice gratitude and not take things for granted. It's something that I've had to work on myself as a clan leader, to try and bring positivity into my group and keep it positive. I had to lead by example. So for me, I didn't really have a choice in it. But what I found that means more to me, and it's not necessarily for everybody else, but to me specifically, I like to practice gratitude and tell the person I'm grateful for them and express that to them, because it has that 2-pronged effect. Not only am I going to uplift myself positively? I'm also going to affect that person. And for me, in a positive way. And for me, that's seeing you, Dave, when I, told you, when I messaged you saying thank you. I've been in your position, and that message means so much to somebody, and it may mean nothing to you, or may just mean something so tiny to
it
you.
means everything to me.
The world. I can't tell you how many times I've cried from messages from my members, or just, thank yous and you're well, just thank you for, putting in the effort. And, it means the world to me. So when you practice gratitude, you're not only helping yourself. If you choose to practice in certain ways, you can help so many other people along the way too. And hopefully what we try and do here with Gamers We Care is snowball that. And, from one act of gratitude leads to 2 acts, and somebody else extends their hand, and so on and so forth down the line. And I mean, that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right. So look, we are about to hit the end.
What?
Yes, we only have like 10 minutes to go or something. So I'm just the first warning. The end of the show now. So just a quick well, what did we forget anything about gratitude that pops into your mind right now, Dave, where you think like this is something that has to be said, that has to be clear for everyone?
No,
From
as I
a
said,
coaching perspective.
it's about what works for you. Not so if so basically, I would say if you want to practice it, speak to a bunch of people and get curious. Try little different things out. What Beard just said then, I think is absolutely perfect. I would say even if you don't necessarily feel the gratitude yourself so much that way, but if you are grateful for something, tell people, because we do assume people assume that their impact on other people's lives is much smaller than it is. And usually when they assume that they're having an impact, they assume that it's a negative one. And especially in mental health communities, this is so true, is that people think that they're not appreciated, or that they're not valued, or they're not worthwhile. And the thing is that I was chatting to my wife about this the other day. I said I really enjoyed my food, and the chef was in the window, like behind her, and this on Christmas Eve, and I was just like, put my thumbs up to the chef, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I saw the chef. I don't know if it's the one that cooked my food, but I'm putting my thumbs up." And I said, because how many times? I wonder how many times today that someone sent a meal back. Right, and that's the thing, is people don't really comment on something positive unless it's completely exceptional and over the top. Yet we do tend to comment on something if it's just not quite right. So again, negativity bias. We notice the things that are negative to us. Now the thing is, we could look at it one way. That chef could say, right, 4 people sent food back today and I served 100 people. And he could look at that and say, that's 96 people that actually loved the food, but he probably doesn't. It's like, he's probably looking at that saying, that's 96 people that were just kind of ambivalent towards it, that didn't really care or just didn't say anything. And as a coach myself, one of the big things for me is that whenever I've trained myself to think this now, is whenever someone sends me a nice message like what Beard sent me the other day, or like, people out the blue will say, you told me something 2 years ago and it's really stuck with me and I've really changed my life since then. For those 2 years, I've assumed that conversation that I had with that person meant nothing or wasn't big. You don't know until a person tells you. And actually, that's the whole thing, is that you can really make a person's day by doing that. And as I said, the rule I try and do for myself now is I go, right, okay, well, this is just someone who's taken 2 years to tell me. So I assume that there's other people out there that actually, think that way of me as well, so it's like reminding yourself of that when those messages aren't coming. And that's it. I would say if someone is important to you, tell them, because we never know how much time we've got to tell people. I was trying to see if Almond Triangle was in from my side was in the chat. I think I saw it earlier. She told me this a few years back that her dad, she was clearing out her dad's flat after he passed away, and one of the neighbors came around and said, "Oh, your dad was such an amazing guy. He always helped out around this. He was such a handy guy. He was always like helping out with other people's little chores and everything. He was just fantastic. I just want you to know that." And she was like, "That's amazing. Did you ever tell him that?" And he was like, "Actually, no, I didn't." And that's it right there. Like, just so if someone's made an impact to you, tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really amazing.
Is
Beard,
there anybody I know we have a few minutes left. We have 6 minutes left with Dave. I'm using every
there
single
also
one of
was
them.
a question in chat.
Oh, all right. Throw that up then.
Oh, okay. I thought you saw it.
It's okay.
There was a
Yeah.
beautiful question in the chat. Yeah, where should we take our energy when we are in a constant loop of problems caused by health and nothing depends on you? And I really like this question because I feel, especially in 2020, 2021, we all feel like the pressure is all the time on us, right? It's constant. It's never stopping. Like it feels like an endless loop. And well, don't even talk about the stupid measurements we have to go through, all of us, right? And I'm not saying a mask wearing is not useful. Don't get me wrong. I'm fully vaccinated, everything, but there are some things politicians decide which just don't make sense. Anyways, this is not political here.
Well, where you take your energy when you're in a constant loop of problems, have you ever taken time to decide to actually label yourself a champion for the fact that you're in a constant loop of problems and you're still here fighting? Yeah, and
Right.
this, like, honestly, this is something that I said to one of my community about a week or so ago. He was like, said, don't ever be ashamed of your mental health. That is not your value. This is just they are the troubles that you face. And I was like, look, the thing is, the world doesn't judge you the way you think they do. And if like everyone else thinks that people see us as these weak, suffering people, and we are not weak, suffering people. I'm like, look, if you were to watch 2 films, imagine one film where as a person just going through day to day where they face nothing. They face no problem. Not a lot really happens. And they kind of just meander through the day. And they're quite happy because they've got a very blessed life. It sounds like a super interesting film, I'm sure. Then you see the next film, the Underdog Story, the person that is fighting, every single day, the person that is out there struggling with their mental health, but still manages to have a smile on their face. That person that finds that little glimmer of hope in a really difficult life. When we watch that film, we're like inspired, right? And we're inspired by that person. We're inspired by the person who is struggling. We don't see people who are struggling as weak. We see people who are struggling as inspirational. And that's it. Like I say to my community, it's like, look, if an MMA fighter gets in the ring every single day and is tired at the end of every single day, you understand why. It's okay for you to be tired at the end of every single day. It's okay for you to be tired with all this, but actually give yourself some credit. There's a poem on my YouTube channel called "You Are Not Weak," and it's "You are not weak. The journey is just difficult." It's like we've got it. That's that question then, that you're not weak if you're facing problems every single day. The journey is difficult, and we've got to stop looking at ourselves as like, I'm not getting anywhere, because actually sometimes even staying where you are when the odds are against you is a massive achievement. Massive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
That's interesting.
Is there any specific person, before we let you go here, a group of people you wanted to say you were grateful for?
Yeah, I know it's the beginning of the year now, but like I want to echo something I said to my community at the end of the year, and I mean this, and every time I think of this, it gets me a little bit close to tears. So if I go, I go. And I think it's important to say at this time of the year, I said a few weeks back at the end of the year that I'm grateful for anyone that thought they wouldn't make it to the end of another year and did. And because that person, again, has fought through everything to be where they are at the end of the year. And that, like, we got to congratulate a bunch of people that didn't think they'd make it through last year. And they're still here right now, and that's amazing. And right now, there might be people that are sat there thinking, "What are we on the 2nd?" So the 2nd of January, another year, more of this bullshit. It's like, if you're thinking and feeling that way right now, just know that other people felt that way last year and survived. You may have felt that way last year and survived. And I am actually, even if I've never met you, I am grateful that you're still here, because it means I have the opportunity to meet you. And yeah, so to anybody who is actually out there fighting that fight that we just talked about, I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Please, for the love of God, keep fighting.
That's a nice way to put it. Thank you so much, Dave. Do we have still a few minutes left? Let me check. I think we have 2 or 3 minutes left, right?
Yeah, we could take
All
a
right.
couple minutes over too if we need to.
Dave, this will be difficult for you, but what is this about? Like toxic positivity. We caught you the other day with a great talk with you and Papa Paws.
Yeah.
And you had a full show about it. So, well, you have 2 minutes to go.
Okay. Toxic positivity. Basically, positivity with no other option. That's the easiest way to say it. If you say to someone you just think positive or everything's going to be all right, and you've just got it's same as before. If gratitude is your one solution that fixes everything, if positivity is your one solution that fixes everything, then again, you can't, it shouldn't be discarded. It shouldn't be but it might be another one of those 10% tools. Use positivity, but definitely don't ever tell people that they've only got to be positive. Don't do the whole positive vibes only thing. Toxic positivity, as I say, is positivity where there is no other option, where a person doesn't have space for anything that doesn't fit and make them feel comfortable.
All right. I get it. Thank you so much.
The quickest I've ever done it.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of me
Maybe
too.
I should do 10 minutes shows for you just as a training.
Yeah,
We're going 10 minutes live. Okay, Dave.
Honestly,
we try it again.
TikTok and YouTube Shorts have made me much tighter. It's because
right.
It's like necessity. It's yeah, but then it's like,
Dave,
why say in 2 minutes when you can say in 20?
You're not the only one, Dave. It's completely normal. I feel like compressing info in a really short format, especially YouTube Shorts, is so difficult, right? Especially with the topics you do, where you don't have any action. It's about finding the right words, saying it in there, on point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really a challenge. I get that. Thank you so much, Dave. I learned so much today from you, really. And I was really excited about this. So
I learn so much from you every time I tune into that stream of yours. I can't wait for 2022. Anything quick you have planned for 2022?
Oh,
or are we just going to keep chugging along?
Oh, can I mention that actually? 3rd of June, 3/6 to us English people, 6/3 to you American. But basically 3/6. I'm doing 36 back-to-back interviews over 36 hours. So I'm going to do 45 minute 15 break of a guest of 36 different guests. I did it in February this year on the 26th of February last year. Sorry, we did 26.2 as the same as a marathon called the Mental Health Marathon. This year we're doing the Mental Health Ultra Marathon. So we're doing 36 consecutive mental health interviews with different creators, and that's on the 3rd of June, and I'm totally and utterly fine about it.
Good. I can't wait. I will be there. I promise. I'll make sure to tune in. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me on today.
Yeah, of course. If anybody out there is looking for any mental health or has any mental health issues, I know that's been shared already in chat, but Mindset by Dave is the place to be. I think one of the most wonderful people I have had the privilege of meeting this past year. So thank you for everything
really
you
stop
do.
now.
I know.
Thank you so much.
You too.
All right, get out of here.